I'm attempting to vlog. Yay! Anyway, my husband and some friends and we went to the chocolate festival in New York City on Sunday, and I believe that was March 8th. It was so much fun, and I ate so much chocolate that I got a caffeine high. And honestly, the caffeine high should have been expected. I just didn't realize how much caffeine it was going to be. That is a 99% dark chocolate little morsel. And I had like five of those, and then a few more of varying amounts of dark chocolate, a percentage, and that was just one booth. There were other booths where they weren't as like shaped. So yeah, like I should not have been surprised. I will say one thing that I was not expecting to come away from a chocolate festival with was realizing or rediscovering my love of Japanese matcha. So I had matcha for the first time in Japan, which, from what I understand, is both the best and worst place to have matcha because that is the birthplace of matcha and it is the best there. But also, if you go back to America, the matcha kind of sucks now. So when we passed by this booth, I was like, let me try the ceremonial matcha one. It's the green bar right there. And it was the best bar. The best bar. And we all got different ones. Like my thing was the matcha one, and then our friend got like salted plum, and then and then my husband got something else. Like there were lots of other different options, and it was really interesting to taste the matcha like coming through that. And honestly, I think I'm gonna get a matcha, like some kind of matcha thing today, just so I can kind of see, can I vibe with American matcha again now that I have like the taste of matcha and like the thought of matcha in my head. And speaking of matcha, the place where I had the 99% dark chocolate was this brand here, Bon Fiction. And while the 99% dark chocolate was really good, I do think that this one was my favorite, and I was not expecting to eventually to vibe with that because I love dark chocolate, and I was concerned that like a more milky chocolate or a less chocolate, like a less chocolate percentage product I wouldn't like it as much. But I think the matcha and the blue PT like just really brought this over the top. I fucking loved this. This was the 99% dark chocolate. It was actually really good. And I do think that the difference between dark chocolate and cacao really does make a difference, because at a different booth, we tried 100% cacao, and that was too bitter for me. But this I liked a lot. I do think the sweet spot for dark chocolate for me personally was like the 72%, because that's a little bit darker than the chocolate chips that I use to make chocolate chip cookies, because the really dark chocolate chip cookies are the best for that. And I didn't get a bar of these, but I ended up getting a little tin of something called chocolate sardines. I actually thought that they were fish in them, and I got really scared. But no, they were just chocolate that was shaped like fish, and it was from Bixby's. It was on a different floor. And I plan to chop those up and throw them into chocolate chip cookies, because they have like that perfect dark chocolate flavor. Because a lot of like these chocolate bars that I'm talking about with like the matcha and like the super dark chocolate and all of that, they all have like different flavors, and they don't necessarily taste like dark chocolate that I am used to. The chocolate sardines did. That being said, this is the brand where the blue matcha bar comes from, and I loved that blue matcha bar. I think that might have been my favorite bite of the day. Honestly, the thing that we came away with was we in America just don't know shit about chocolate. My husband is not a chocolate person. Like, he does not like it, but he was just as into the chocolate shit as I was. And I think the reason why he's into chocolate here and not necessarily elsewhere in our country is probably the same reason that I'm into matcha in Japan, but I'm not as familiar with it here, and I'm not necessarily curious about it here, even though I kind of am now. It's because we don't have great chocolate in America. We don't have great matcha in America. So we just don't know enough to know that what we have sucks. There's also a lot of stuff about like how they make chocolate. Like they had the chocolate machines that you could use to like temper chocolate at home. And I was like, I would love one, but I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with a small-ish kitchen. I do not have space for chocolate tempering stuff. Also, before our friends got there, my husband and I ended up sitting in on this show. It was like a little panel. It was by the chef of a restaurant called Tourmaline, which is actually in the neighborhood next to ours. So we do plan to go to Tourmaline at some point, like in the next few months or like the next few weeks. But he ended up making this chocolate sauce, and he like this chocolate like savory sauce, and he put it on this duck and wild rice, and it was so good. And it was probably the only bit of protein that we had before we went to our friend's birthday dinner. Anyway, this was so much fucking fun. Here is us and our friends toasting with 4 quarters of a dark chocolate cookie that I bought for $5 that it was absolutely worth it. Thus ends this attempt at a vlog.